So first off, for this mod, you're going to need your controller. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver to screw your controller. You might need a carpenter's knife or a flathead screwdriver to pry open your controller. And then you'll need some wires, preferably small ones. I think these are 28 gauge or 30 gauge. Some wire strippers. You're going to need an X-Acto knife. Carpenter's knife might work fine, but X-Acto knife works good because it's small and it, I think, is a bit sharper. One of these, I don't know what you call it, but it can hold the motherboard from your PS4 controller. It's going to work great for what we're going to be doing. You're going to need a glue gun, your soldering iron. You might need a ruler, something just to measure out where to put the buttons. Your drill bit. You're going to need a 4-pin momentary button, and then you're also going to need the cap for it. You can find combos that come with the cap and the button. There'll be a link in the description for that. Go ahead and take your 4 screws out of the back of your controller. And then you can use your carpenter's knife or flathead screwdriver and go along the sides of the controller and just kind of slowly pry it open, and then lift off the back. And once you got the back off, you can take out the ribbon, unplug your battery, and take off the black holder that holds your battery, and it's also the reset button. So you can go ahead and take your soldering iron and unsolder your dual shocks. And then you can take out that ribbon that connects your touchpad to the motherboard. And then you can unscrew your one screw in the middle of the motherboard. And depending on your version of the controller, most of them you should be able to lift the motherboard right out, but I think on these newer ones, I'd never seen this one before, but there's 2 pins on the left and right side of the plastic part that you have to push against, and releases the motherboard. And in here I'm just showing where they are. So I'll have a link in the description for this website here, but it's acidmods.com, and there's a forums here that has PlayStation 4 motherboard scans here. And what they're here for is they'll show you exactly where you need to solder to for the button that you want to map to. So for this particular one, here's triangle or circle. But what you're going to do is take your X-Acto knife and you're going to scrape that until you can see the metal, and that metal is what you're going to be soldering to. Some of these will show the triggers and the R1, L1, but there is one couple here that don't show that. So what you can do is, if you have this particular motherboards that don't show that, you can scrape away at some of these other ones here, and you can take a wire from your ground and use the other side of that wire and tap the contact here and just have a game open, and you can figure out what button you're pressing. But the one that I'm going to be doing today is this TH201, and with it a bit different because it doesn't have it in the particular middle area of the motherboard here for the contact points from the ribbon for all the buttons. So it goes out to the sides, and the left side here is the one that has all the triangle, circle, X, square, and your R1 and R2 are also on this side here. So I believe if you're doing the L2 or L1, they'd be over on this side. But what you're going to do is just find the the one you want and scrape away at it until you see some metal, and that metal is what you're going to be soldering to. So this middle one here is the one I'm going to be doing. It is the triangle, and you're going to just kind of be scraping it like this, and you're just going to want to scrape it until you can see some contact points. And it's going to help if you have like a small paintbrush that you can just brush away some of the chippings from that cover the contact. So you're going to want to cut yourself at least a good 5 inches just to work with, because this wire will be soldering to the back side of the controller. So for the technique to solder to this point, the best way is if you can somehow get like a little small piece of solder and solder that straight onto that contact point. And then what I did is I got my wire here and I heated up just a couple millimeters away from the contact point, but the wire was touching contact point, and I put the soldering iron on my wire, and then it heated up the wire and the little bit of solder that was on the contact point. And it might take you a while to do this, especially if you haven't soldered that much, but just do it and then bend it around a bit and see if it stays on. If you're wondering why there's a second wire there, it's because I'm doing 2 videos at once here. But what you're going to do now is take your glue gun and just glue over those wires, because that solder probably still won't be strong enough, so just glue over your solder connection there. And then I just flipped it over here and I glued the other side here. Just make sure it's not too much there, else your motherboard might not go, or might not fit right back in. So first, fire up a game and plug your battery in. You're probably gonna have to put back your motherboard back into the controller, and then take your wire, and you can either use the rumble ground there or the joystick ground, and just tap your wire to either one of those grounds and make sure your button works. Now we're going to be drilling the hole, and what I did was I measured 10 centimeters from the right where I had that ruler there, and then 35 centimeters from the end there, and that's kind of where I estimated where to drill my hole for the button, but it's also going to be kind of where it's most comfortable for you. So what I did here was I kind of just started with a really small drill bit and worked my way up until I got one that the button could fit through. So now we can drill that button in and kind of just try and put glue all around it as much as you can, just so that it's not going to fall out from pressing it all the time, and try not to get it on the contact points there. And then here I was kind of just testing to make sure it was gonna fit fine with the controller, but as long as you're drilling your hole in that kind of vicinity, it should fit fine. Now you can get your second wire ready here, probably about the same length, 5 inches, and strip the ends, and then we can start soldering to the button itself. Now you can take that wire you just cut and you can solder it right to where I am going to be soldering. So that's gonna complete the circuit from either your square, triangle, or circle X, or wherever you decided to map the button to. Solder right to there, that's your ground. And then when you do solder these wires, they do have to be diagonally across from each other. And then you can take your wire from your other solder point from the motherboard, and you can wire it diagonally across on this momentary button. And then once you do that, you're gonna want to bend back these prongs kind of just so that fit into your controller better. Then you're gonna go ahead and plug that touchpad cable back in, and then next you can solder your 2 rumbles back in. Take note how they are soldered in. I believe the left side has the negative kind of on the bottom side, and then on the right side rumble the positive is on the bottom side. So now we're pretty well done, and all you have to do is put the black piece in there that holds the battery, put your battery in, and then plug in that ribbon cable. And then when you're putting it in, make sure you're not singeing any of your cables from coming from the motherboard and the button there. And then it's all fitted. Then you can put in your 4 screws, and then you can turn it on and make sure everything's working fine, and then also test your button. So go ahead and grab your button cap and put some glue inside, and then place it on the button. Okay, so we're in Black Ops 3 right now, and I'm just going to test the triangle button right here. Working fine. The normal triangle works too. So I hope you guys like the mod. I'm gonna have another video coming soon showing you how to install rapid fire for the PS4 controller. It's pretty similar to the Scuf mod, but if you like the video, please like it and subscribe.